Hey, Quad Bros. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So glad you guys are joining me. We're doing Allies BR2 today, a deep dive into the faction at this BR, talking about the best loadouts, the best squads, the best guns, so on and so forth, and really digging into the nitty gritty. Now, this is one of my favorite BRs. We're probably going to be playing this later when I stream. We're going to be streaming Mondays going forward at twitch.tv/HeyQuadro, and also probably live streaming to YouTube as well. I think we can do like duo streams and stuff like that now. So, pop on over there and sub to the channel so you can see whenever we go live. Love to have you guys joining us, but let's jump into the video. Now, for the allies in BR2, we have, in my opinion, probably the best. I think people might disagree with me on this, but I really like BR2 allies. I think BR2 allies is, maybe it's not the strongest, but it's certainly the most fun, right? And it's because we have so many different options. Now, starting off, of course, with our engineer squad, we're pretty much always going to have engineers. And in my opinion, guys, you have lots of options. You have three different primary ways to set up this squad. Number one is very exclusive to the US, and it is a very assaulter style squad, right? You bring engineers with Browning Auto 5s because they are able to use shotguns, which is amazing. So you deck them out with like Browning Auto 5s, some ammo, maybe some backpacks if you want the med kits, things like that. And you basically play them like an assault squad, a 6-man engineer assault squad, which is so much fun to just blast people with this shotgun. It's very strong. It's very fun. Highly recommend you guys do this at least a little bit because it is just that powerful. Your other option is an M1 carbine. This gives you a little bit more mid-range firepower while still having some good, close-range firepower. You're going to be able to beat a lot of bolt actions at close range if you're able to get those shots off. But at the end of the day, it's kind of one of those like, well, you're kind of splitting the difference, right? You can either have the close-range shotgun or you can have a long-range bolt action. The M1 carbine's kind of the best of both worlds, but also the worst of both worlds, right? So you're not going to be as strong as a Browning up close. You're not going to be as strong as a bolt action at range. You're kind of cutting the difference. I know a lot of people don't like the M1 carbine. I've made many videos about the M1 carbine. I think this gun is fantastic. I think they keep buffing it unnecessarily. 15-round magazine, 15, not 50. 8.8 hit power. It's good. It's really, really good. It's got very little recoil. It's just a good gun. I don't know why people don't like it so much. And then our final option, guys, is just a bolt action. If you want your engineers to be a little bit more at range, that's totally fine. You can do that and you'll be able to do pretty well with it. You're going to want to give yourselves like an M1917 infield. Ross rifle's fine. P14's fine. Whatever you were using before is more than likely going to be absolutely fine. If you have got to tier 3 and you're kind of coming back to BR2, you can always use these weapons as well. You can use the Lee Enfield number 4. Fantastic bolt action, arguably the best in the game. So you can always use this for your engineers and kind of get that British gameplay going. Now moving on to our assaulters. Like I mentioned before, guys, Browning Auto 5, baby. If you're running an assaulter squad, you're going to want to replace your medic squad with assaulters. But if you're running it, Browning Auto 5, I think it's the best assault weapon that you can be using. I don't think there's anything better. If you want to use a submachine gun, you can keep using your stins from your medic squads. But I don't think it's worth using, right? If you can get the Lanchester in tier 3 whenever you might come back, the Lanchester's a fine alternate. But I think the Browning's just that good, guys. I really think it is just incredible. It's a great gun. It's fun as hell to use. And it really does just shred people. If you play it right, especially if you get like a close quarters city map in Normandy, oh man, the body count you can rack up with this gun is absolutely crazy. All right. Fantastic gun. Really, really good. For your engineer in the squad, you're going to want to, of course, bring a Browning Auto 5. Your other two, I would recommend bringing M1 carbines to, again, just have that kind of close range firepower. Might not be as good as your assaulters, but it'll still fill that kind of role. Your anti-tank soldier is going to want to have an M1 bazooka. Your options between this is the Piat or the M1 bazooka. I personally like the bazooka more. The Piat has better penetration, but the M1 is easier to use, and I think that is more valuable in the game, especially at BR2, where that extra penetration that the Piat offers just isn't really that necessary. You don't need that extra penetration most of the time. The M1 will be able to get the job done just fine. Moving on to our third squad, our machine gunners. Now, I might catch some flack for this, but I like the Vickers a lot. I like the Bren too, but I think the Vickers is the better gun between the two. The machine guns in BR2 for the allies are not amazing, and some people might think that, you just shouldn't use them, bring another assault squad, bring medics again, something like that. But I think this gun is really good. I think your machine gun squad is very powerful in BR2 for the allies and is definitely worth bringing. Again, you might disagree, and that's fine. But I think it's worth bringing for the fact that it's a good squad, and it also lets you level the squad up for whenever we're going to inevitably be using them whenever we get to bars later down in the tech tree. So I think that this is totally a valid squad and is the best squad to be using. As for the rest of your soldiers here, M1 carbines all the way. If you want to be a little bit more mid-range, you can always bring a Lee Enfield or a Ross rifle or an M1917, something like that. Totally fine as well if you want a little bit more long-range firepower in your machine gun squad. Also, keep in mind that once you level this squad up, you'll be able to build 50 cals with engineers in this squad, which is incredible. Definitely take advantage of that. The 50 cal can take on a lot of obviously, we'll just rip infantry apart, but it can also take out a lot of tanks as well if you manage to get on the flank, especially early tanks like the Panzer II. So keep that in mind as well. The 50 cal is no joke. All right. Okay. One more thing to mention, guys, is the Studebaker, the APC squad. Now, I'm assuming you guys are free to play for this video. If you're premium, you can totally bring this. But if you're free to play, I think this is not necessary to bring. You should bring either an engineer or an APC. And between the two, I think a engineer is much better to be bringing over this. There's nothing wrong with bringing the APC squad, but I think that you don't really need both as long as you're keeping your rally points up. As a free-to-play player, it's fine to have just the single engineer squad. Totally reasonable. Again, if you're premium, bring both, right? Okay, on to vehicles. The best overall vehicle, if you're only bringing one vehicle, is, in my opinion, going to be the Mark I Grant. It is the easiest to use. It is pretty powerful for what it is. It is awkward, but it's a big behemoth. It's kind of a, it's got the forward-facing main gun. It takes a while to get used to, and it can get flanked very easily. But at the end of the day, it's got good armor. It's got good machine guns. It's got a lot of anti-infantry firepower, anti-tank firepower. It's just a good overall vehicle, even though it is just absolutely disgusting to look at. You can either use this or the Lee if you want to have an American tank. Both are totally fine. You also have the option of bringing the Crusader. Similar gun, but very, very different in how it plays. Much less armor, but more speed. Much less awkward to use, but also a lot easier to get taken out by anyone who sneezes in your general direction. So, trade-offs, but I think that overall the Grant's the one to bring if you're just looking for, hey, I don't play vehicles a lot. What do I get? Mark I Grant's the way to go. Now, if you're a flyboy, you got a lot of options. You're going to love this BR, okay? You got the P-38G for a fighter. This is the best overall plane in the game for BR2. Well, maybe not in the entire game, but at least for the allies in BR2, P-38G. You got the 20mm cannon, fantastic. You got 4 Browning machine guns on it. You'll be able to take on anyone. They're also all nose mounted, which makes them very easy to aim and take out enemy vehicles. Absolutely fantastic. And you get M8 rockets to boot. What more can you ask for, guys? I mean, you got great CAS, you got great cannons, you got a great flight model for taking on enemy planes. It's a great plane. It's hard to beat, right? And then if you want to, you can always bring a dedicated attack plane. You can bring the SBD Dauntless. Great plane. It flies like a duck, okay? It flies like an absolute brick. This thing is not easy to fly. Anyone who sneezes in your direction is going to kill you. Anyone who wants to kill you is going to kill you. But you got a 1,000-pound bomb. You got a lot of damage you can dish out with this bad boy. And if you got like a player you're queuing with, like you got a duo that can cover you in the air, this thing can rack up a lot of kills and do a lot of damage as long as you're covered in the air, right? So it is absolutely very, very fun to play. And it's also a carrier, which is kind of cool if you're in like the Pacific. You kind of get you get that theming, right? You gotta love the theming of that, right? So always a lot of fun there. And that's really it, guys. That's BR2 deep dive in a nutshell, right? That's what I think. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comments. While you're there, like and subscribe as always. Join our community Discord and follow us on Twitch. All that good stuff, guys. Join the community, right? It's, find people to play with. We got tons of people that are constantly playing Enlisted, and we're always looking for more. So come hang out, play some games with me, play some games with the community, and have a good time. But without anything else, guys, again, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.